Hi everyone. Today I'm going to be talking about The Ward by Jordana Frankel. We're going off list for this one, so this is a book that wasn't on our original list. So let's see what this is all about. So let's imagine for a second that it's not 2016 but it's 2012. And if it was, we might not be in class right now. We might still be recovering from Sandy because, as you remember, in late October 2012, Sandy caused billions of dollars in damage across New York City and indeed the East Coast. It cut services and amenities to thousands of New Yorkers, and some of the damage is only just now being repaired. And here's the scary thing: scientists are saying that storms like Sandy could become more and more common. A storm like Sandy, which is like a 1,000 year storm, meaning it would happen only once every 1,000 years, could become a 100 year storm or even a 10 year storm. So these major sort of flooding events could be happening more and more often. Um, this is, of course, tied to climate change, and Jordana Frankel's book takes the premise: what if New York City was covered under, say, 50 feet of water? So the setting that we get into is basically a setting where um, people are living in Midtown Manhattan, but only the upper portion of Midtown Manhattan, which they call the Ward, hence the title. Now, this is a world that's beset by danger. The people still living in New York City are disenfranchised. There's water everywhere, but there's not a drop to drink. Fresh water is hard to come by. And to make matters worse, there's an oppressive government, and there's a deadly virus that causes cancer that affects a great many people in the population. So, not a happy place. Our protagonist in this world is Ren, a 16-year-old orphan girl whose only family is a sister. Um, Ren herself is immune to the virus, but her sister is afflicted by it, so this is a major driving portion of the book. To make ends meet, Ren races amphibious pod cars that they jump from roof to roof and skip across the water. And in doing this, she uncovers a possible cure and a vast conspiracy that might change their world forever. So let me read a short section from the book. Here's a section of one of the amphibious races. I push the neon green button, detach, and in an instant my Rimbo jolts forward, speeding down the roof, the momentum sucking me backward into the seat. The next thing I know, I'm halfway down, followed by Kent, Jones, and lastly Tur. Not too surprised by that. Omnis are decent out of water, but he'll pick up speed in about 30 seconds. For the time being, I'm leading, but I haven't had time to come up with a new route that gets me to Quad 9, then back up to the last roof. All four of us are approaching the ramp that will send us over the edge of the roof and onto the next building of our choice. I'd bet good money Terrence is going to dive straight for the water. Kent's Honda steals up behind me and I swerve closer to the outside of the roof. The bastard. Not only would my metal be crushed if we were to have a collision, though I'm sure that's his intention, everyone knows the first roof is a grace period. You don't mess with other mobiles until you're off the first roof. Too many people watching. Spectators have died that way, found themselves up close and personal with a fresh set of tires. So as you can see here, this is action-packed stuff. It's all present tense, first person. Um, Looking around, most libraries list this as 9 through 12. I think it's easy enough that it can probably go in grades 7 through 9. The Lexile is 710, and some of the draws here are that there's a lot of action. There's a female protagonist. The protagonist is of minority background. So I think there's a lot that kids will be drawn to and be interested in. In terms of objectionable content, there's not too much to worry about. Of course, there's some people who still believe that climate change is a controversial topic, and undoubtedly, the subject of cancer is one that is very sensitive for a great many people. More importantly, I think there might be some pet peeves. There's some really bad science in this book. Basically, the cure for cancer consists of mixing colorful fluids together, so really cheap sci-fi movie stuff. Science teachers in your school are unlikely to be impressed. And if you noticed from the scene that I read, some detail seems to be lacking. We don't really know what the vehicles they're racing look like, what kind of details they have, what they're capable of. Similarly, we know that Ren is of African American background, but we don't really do anything with that. So it seems that this book sometimes is lacking in a little depth, lacking some world building. So would I use it in the classroom? I'd be hesitant. It's kind of long at 450 pages. I think The prose, while it is engaging and gives the sense of immediacy, is also lacking some depth and detail in description. So I would most likely use this for independent reading. I was considering this book for a unit that dealt with climate change. There's probably better candidates. But in terms of independent reading, I think a lot of kids still might find this a good read. It's kind of reminiscent of other very popular books. I'm thinking of, for example, the Divergent series or even the Hunger Games, which are set in a dystopian future. So I think there's a lot of kids that will still be drawn to this book. For the whole classroom, probably not. Here's the citation for your reference. Definitely an interesting text, but maybe not for the whole class.